Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
City, Tala. Yes. You know, we've been telling people about Tala. And there are many people, Tala, telling us there are many people who have actually downloaded Tala and they've signed up for Tala. And some have even started taking loans. Some are doing repeats and they're growing their limits.
Yes.
Which is a good thing, which is what you ought to do.
Yes.
Yeah, why?
Well, you determine the limit you have when you keep your word. When you borrow and they ask you how long you want it for, and you pay within the stipulated time, well, then that is really the way to grow the
limit.
Yes, exactly. But you're asking me why? Well, life being what it is, you do need companions, people who can walk with you, people who can hold your hand.
Yes.
Now, the financial hand-holding partner who does the very thing that we keep saying, that in the event of an emergency, you require money, you don't have it. The people you normally ask to assist you don't have money. What then do you do? That's where Tala comes in.
That's where it comes in.
That's where Tala comes in.
Yes.
And they not only lend you money, they also give you an opportunity to pay as and when you want, from day 1 to 60 days. That entire period, it's up to you. You decide when it is you want to pay.
You decide.
Yes.
You decide.
Yes.
Very good. Now, our next conversation is going to be about the African Union Commission chairperson's position that falls vacant next year, and Kenya has a candidate. And that candidate is the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, who has launched his bid officially. And then there's news. You'll read that for us, that news. Yeah. You'll read for us that news. So our guest is going to help us understand this and just look at why does it matter that Raila is a candidate. Why is Kenya making such a big deal out of it? Why the fuss? Professor Noah Midamba is a foreign policy and defense expert who will also tell us, so what happens? Raila has launched it, so then what? Where does he campaign? On top of vehicles? Does he have to go to every country and say, mimi nimekuja hapa? Nataka kuwa chairman. What happens? How does he campaign? Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana to the hot seat of the situation. Karibu sana. You look dapper, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
You look very well dressed.
Well, I know I was coming to Situation Room.
Very good.
And I know it's very hot in here.
Very good.
So I have to be careful.
Yes.
I thought about coming with my regalia, chief regalia. But I decided that, I better be who I am.
Very good. Right. Yesterday we had a guest here, seated right where you are today, Prof. His name is Abraham Ogenge. He is head of personal and private banking at Stanbic Bank. And he talked and described the kind of customer that he's looking at. And I think you fit the bill. You fit the bill. So when it comes to private banking, you know what you get? You get world-class trusted advisor. And they talk about there are people who need a bank and there are people who just don't need a bank. They just need banking. This thing of bank, no. So it's what you get out of the bank that matters. That you get a trained, trusted financial advisor who says, all right, Prof, so this is where you are at right now in your life. This is what you have. This is what you've worked hard, you've accumulated. How do we make it work for you? And then also, how do we make it work for those that are your beneficiaries, both right now and how do they get to understand this wealth? That's an important bit, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
No question.
So they said, and in fact he showed us a card here. It's called the Metallic MasterCard World Elite Card.
Yes.
Somebody like you did have such a card.
Well,
but to tell him about it.
Card.
you have to I have traveled in this world more than most people will ever do.
Very good.
And given my background, which is just let you take a few minutes, I left Kenya in the mid-70s, went to America, to school, completed all my school, 6 degrees and all. During that time, I spent a lot of time working. So instead of my father, who was very close to me, my son, I will be sending you money. I told him, instead I will send you money.
Very good.
I worked through, I earned every single thing that I did in America. I learned a lot, and I had incredible opportunities, which taught at 7 universities. And then I became the first black person in the cabinet of governor of Washington State. And then I also ended up in a very senior position in the intelligent national security of United States. And eventually, before I left, returning to Kenya, I was vice president of Kent State University, which is the 3rd largest state system. And I came back for a lot of reasons. One, the day my father escorted me to the airport, he said, "My son, you must return to serve your country." And while I'm in America, I realized that people like me, who were well established in America, are not thinking about Africa. They're not coming back. Their children go to the best school, they live well, everything. And I just remember after my father passed away that it is time to return. And, I left my children, they were young, and they had to have a meeting. Daddy, you cannot just leave. We have to have a meeting about it. So my 4 girls and a little boy spoke last, and he said, "But who is going to look after me?" The girl said, "It is time you return to Africa, to serve Africa." And it was a consensus, but the boy was very reluctant. And that was hard. But I returned because I had really serious concern about our education system. Having traveled around the world, I want to come and serve Kenya. So I started as vice chancellor of KCA University, a small university with 4,000 students. By the time I left, we were close to 20,000, and every staff and faculty are paid on time. And I left them a significant surplus. And the big thing is nobody can follow me and say, Midamba took 1 cent, my friend, and build his house.
Good story, Prof.
So that's where I started.
Very good story.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to put you in touch with Abraham Ogenge at Stanbic, so that with the Stanbic private banking account,
yes,
you can get all these benefits because you deserve them.
Thank you,
You
my
deserve
friend.
them. But now,
I will.
City is going to give you the day's proverb.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll be.
So listen to the proverb.
Yeah.
He's in one country in East Africa. Which country is this, City?
We are in the Republic of Kenya.
Right.
Yes.
Midamba's home.
Sound very good, Chief. The Republic of Kenya.
Yeah, we're in the Republic of Kenya.
Okay.
Yes. And our proverbs will be in the Kiswahili language.
Yeah.
And you, as our honored guest, we will ask you to try and give us what you think is an appropriate translation in English of that proverb in Kiswahili.
Okay.
Okay.
That I will try.
Excellent.
I lost my Kiswahili base, but I will be.
I want to assure you, Prof,
Yeah.
you have good company. Many people struggle with Kiswahili.
Yeah.
Even in this room before you came in. There are
You,
people-
the expert.
Yes.
Yeah,
You see, Eric, I haven't mentioned your name. You see. Okay. Nimechoka kutangatanga. Hapa tatia nanga.
Nimechoka kutangatanga.
Yes.
hapa tatia nanga.
Yes.
Say it in English, Prof.
Oh my God, that one is deep. Nimechoka
Tanga tanga. Hapa tatia nanga.
Nanga is the one throwing me out.
Nanga is an anchor.
Okay. Makes sense. Stop wandering around, anchor yourself, and begin to solve problems.
Very good. Excellent, actually.
I got close.
No. Right on. Oh, spot on. Yes.
Someone has texted me and told me there's a Kikuyu hymn.
Yes.
That goes something similar to this.
Yes.
Nijangete okura ya. Imetanga tanga.
Yeah. I've heard of that many times.
telling the Lord I've come. He's like, the prodigal son.
Nimerudi.
Nimerudi.
Yeah, I've been all over the place.
Yeah.
And now I've come.
Thank you.
Now I've come.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. So, the AU Commission chairperson's position is becoming vacant soon. And Kenya has put forth a candidate. And they are supporting that candidate in, getting this position. This is not the first time that Kenya is actually sponsoring a candidate. Musa, the current president, the current chairman, faced stiff opposition from Kenya. And where Aminu Mohammed,
My friend.
was right there in it. And we missed just narrowly.
Yes.
We are going for it again. Why is it such a big deal that Kenya is sponsoring candidates into this seat?
Let me, I thought a lot about this, how to approach it and how to go about it. I want first give you very briefly the option that Raila have, Honorable Raila, on his life. I want to give you a picture of the world on which we exist in the middle. And then I want to talk about why Kenya deserves, at this particular time, to put forward a candidate who is competent, qualified, passionate about what Africa ought to be. And so then we summarize and go from there. I'm always a teacher, so that's the way I look. I think, ladies and gentlemen, Raila has so many options right now. One, he can continue the muddy politics of Kenya. My older brother Amos ran against Okeke Mayo and lost with 5 votes, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Which means he didn't lose.
Only for us to find tins floating on the river filled with it. And that's when I decided I'm not going to run, for anything in local politics. My father was a politician representing Westland and all that kind of thing. And he's a good fellow. Then he can devote his time for his family, and his businesses, which probably ignore for a long time. He can pick up golf club and spend time in the clubs with friends, relaxing and hitting the small ball. That is a trend in Kenya as well. And I think he can also do one thing that people are talking about, relatives. He can go to Bondo, and sit down and watch birds sing from the sunset, from morning to the sunset.
And summon his grandchildren every so often.
Grandchildren, come and visit him, and he's relaxed down there. He can do that. But I think Raila is more than that. Under his belly of what I know about him. And I've not spent as much time with him as other people have done. But under his belly is burning. Africa must be able to take control of itself. The message you begin with today, wondering, need to anchor. Africa need to anchor. And he's passionate, so seriously passionate about that he will do everything. And so I'm saying this, gentlemen, because I read some of the messages coming out of Kenya people writing back and forth, oh, it's more Ruto compromise, or he let Gen Z's down, he did all that. I think people misreading who Raila is and what he's capable of. Remember the beginning, Jamal Abdul Nasser, remember Nkrumah, remember Haile Selassie, remember Julius Nyerere. These people had wisdom. But it was Nyerere, particular, which I resonate about his thinking. Nkrumah and the rest want United States of Africa, drop everything and all that. But Nyerere said, wait a minute, let's begin region by region. Let's collect the region, East Africa, let it work, and then combine the rest of Africa together in order for it to work. Because Nyerere, gentlemen, had really the thinking of what has happened globally in the world. First World War, Second World War. First World War, we created the League of Nations. And the League of Nations came to kaput, end, could not work. Then we created United Nations. And United Nations has existed right now for several years. Again, we are now questioning the use of United Nations because Israel has basically kicked them out and said, we don't need you in our country. Now, so AOU, which we created in 1963, also came to a deadlock where we said, it's not working for us. We're kicking it out. And then we recently created AU. Now, if we are not careful, very soon we are going to say AU is not working.
Are we not already there?
Yes, so already it's not working. And so you need somebody who's really passionate, charismatic, and to galvanize people who can sit in every capital, every president office, and say to the president, we need you. But the reason why I'm saying that, I've been sitting as a vice chancellor in the Inter-University Council of East Africa. And Inter-University Council of East Africa require member states to pay their dues so that you can get the same service like other people. Kenya consistently paid their dues on time, amazingly. Tanzania always do the same thing. Some countries don't pay their dues on time. and yet they expect the same service. If we get so many scholarships, they say, no, 4 belong to me, belong to us. Now, how do you get it when you have not paid your dues for 2 years? Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go back to the drawing board of Africa and take a look at who are we and where are we going as people. Because the reason why I'm saying that, there are 3 world flashpoints right now. The first one is Russian-Ukraine. The second one is the Middle East. And the third one is China-US. Those flashpoints can end up be the beginning of the Third World War. And if we have a Third World War, don't think Africa is going to be isolated. There's going to be fallout to a point where we are not able to see the sun from morning if we use thermonuclear.
Prof, can I jump in here and ask you if the focus of our conversations today should be about reviving or even just reinstituting what should be one African body and what needs to be done? Or should the focus be on why Raila Odinga is the man to do that? Or are we looking at a concert of both of those ideas?
Both. But you cannot separate. You cannot separate one from another.
Can we not?
Yes, and I'm coming to it in just a minute. If there is going to be a world flashpoint and there's going to be a world war, Africa will not be isolated. Africa, I describe, I'm teaching 70 students from 16 African countries right now. But I describe Africa as the biggest island in the world, with every resources you can think about. Potential food that can feed everybody. Natural resources we can use to re-engineer, reinvent, and create a system in Africa that the world has never seen. For instance, Ethiopia just built the Aswan Dam, the Renaissance Dam. That's the biggest dam in Africa.
Yep.
The most amazing thing is it's done by Ethiopian resources. They didn't go to IMF, World Bank, or anywhere to borrow the money. Can we do that? Yes. The answer is yes. But it requires commitment of people. So the challenge in Africa are many. Number one, I can tell you, and you'll be surprising, is climate. You know, people sitting and say, oh, it always rain and always. No, it's not going to be always rain. There's going to be tornado-like environment which will wipe the whole place. And then rain comes very heavy and disappeared. But Africans for years were used to a tradition where rain comes at certain times, and they can project when the rain comes and when the crops need to be, when to harvest, and it's not going to be the same. So what thinking can go into Africa that will revolutionize and change the way we do agriculture? Because basic food, when people are hungry, they're going to act up.
Prof, it sounds like you should be the candidate.
My friend, I'm not interested. And
For real? Because everything that you're saying here,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yes.
But I've never heard Raila Odinga saying it.
Okay. So you know, it is our job to prepare Raila Odinga, you know, and that's why I jump in.
Okay.
Okay, you can understand. I've stayed out of local politicians. I don't talk with them. But when this thing came, and I know we can do it, Amina Mohammed is a really good friend of mine. She needed to be there, but they push her out because of other interests. This is a very complex situation. And therefore, we are preparing Raila to speak the language that I'm speaking, okay? Because it is important. There you move in your life believing in certain ways. But then you grow to understand there are other things that
Is there enough time, Prof? Because just on the last point that you said,
Yes.
that you can get me to say something for 3 months, but if I don't believe it or have any interest in it, it's going to fade in just as much time.
No,
But if this
he
is
has
something,
passion. He
but
has-
if this is something that you are passionate about, if
Yes.
you understand that the peoples of Africa could do so much more in
Yes.
terms of development, if you understand and really have a passion burning inside you, that the people of Africa could actually benefit from better governance and leadership,
That's correct.
if you don't have it, you can't catch it. It's not like a cold that comes
Yeah.
and goes.
Right.
You cannot catch it in 3 months. You must have imbibed it.
He does have it. But like Nyerere and Nkrumah, okay? Nkrumah unite Africa. We unite, and then we can talk about tribe later. Nyerere said, let's unite the tribe first, and then talk about uniting Africa. And so everybody learn, and I've seen this man learn, you know, whatever. So we need to really be able to say, East Africa can fund itself. For instance, we have done one thing. Now I'm working with a passport that says East Africa Community. And I'm listening to the East African anthem. It's beautiful when you listen to it. I don't know if it was influenced by Tanzania, but they claim to be. But I like it. I like the tune. I like everything when you sing it. So when the trade between Uganda and Kenya is the most important trade, DRC Congo has $32 trillion worth of natural resources. If there is a governance and management and Africans are able, plus timber and soil that can feed the rest of Africa. You understand? But when you look at it, DRC Congo is one of the poorest countries in the world. In other words, we got independent, okay? Political independent. But we didn't got the anchor you're talking about. And therefore, it is time that AU structurally change, AU focus on empowering regional bodies so that ECOWAS does not become useless meeting.
A two-member.
That's why the young soldiers in
Mali.
said no, we don't want to be part of it because it's a talk. But so you need to empower the 5 regions.
Is Raila the man to do this?
Raila is the man to do it.
How are you going to get Raila to say exactly what you're saying? Because the reason why I'm quiet, it isn't often that I want to sit and listen to someone saying something which makes a lot of sense. And I'm listening because what you're saying makes sense.
Thank you.
How will we get Raila? Sorry, not we, you. How will you get Raila?
Yes. Believe and say.
Yes, the government just pulled in a group, of, a team in Kenya, which I'm very pleased with. Former diplomats, professors, all those kind of people, and divided us into 5 teams representing every region. And these teams are talking and debating. And basically what we told the committee, this needed to be the beginning of everything, such that the messaging going out to the rest of Africa need to hear. Now, as I was telling you folks, we have a problem. But this problem is out of hand because we spend a lot of time, individual accumulating so much money out to the public and not caring about this issue. Why am I saying this? Lee Kuan Yew, which is quoted a lot of times, and the best thing you can read is a letter from the grave, the letter he wrote before he died, had 2 choices. One, to become one of the richest people in the world and be listed in Forbes magazine, or to empower his people from the bottom up, like we were talking about, and make everybody middle class and be happy of the countries he had created. So that's what Lee do. He didn't die as the most as the richest man, but he died out of a great country. He left a great country, which is a model and example to everything. These things we should not continue just talking about it. Because we have the resources right here where we are. We have a huge debt. Africa is suffering out of huge debt. Why are we borrowing this kind of money when we can do it ourselves? The rail system we just developed cost us twice as much as need to be. Okay? And it's 1 gauge. In Ethiopia, they built 2 gauge, and longer than what we have. And it's cheaper than what we did. So we need to be able to reinvent ourselves to do this. So what we're asking is, I can go over a list of issues, healthcare, education, everything.
What are we asking to whom? What are we asking? What is who asking to whom?
We are mandating Raila.
Okay.
That he must take leadership in
these areas.
In this area.
Voila. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
That's what we're saying.
Let's take a break.
Yeah,
we'll come back. 24 minutes to 10. Our guest this morning is Professor Noah Midamba. He's a foreign policy and defense expert, one of those experts that are working behind the scenes in the campaign for Raila Odinga's bid for the AU chairmanship position. When is the election?
Election is coming up, is it in February?
Yes.
Yeah.
February 2025.
February 2025, yeah.
All right. We'll continue that conversation shortly. Yeah. Meanwhile, www.taifapensionfund.com, taifapensionfund.com is where you want to make sure that all your pension is directed to, okay? So your own individual pension, you can actually sign up with Taifa Pension Fund. Or if you're an employer, you can sign up so that your scheme goes into the Taifa Pension Fund for your employees, all of them. There are very many others like you, Mr. or Mrs. Employer, who are on board at Taifa Pension Fund. Over 200 employers, over 400,000 employees, many retirees who are already benefiting from this, and it has very many benefits. Just go to taifapensionfund.com and learn more about it.
This is